YouTube. Alright, so this is what Oh Day Joy sounds like, and in this video we're going to go through and practice this song, and hopefully you'll be able to play it with some level of proficiency by the time we're done. You can also play along with the video, run the video a couple of times, and kind of, get a feel for how to play it. And it does take practice. You do have to play it a couple of times in order to get the hang of it. So I'm going to play through it once, and then I'm going to explain how to play it. So you can sort of listen to see if you can sort of mimic what I'm going to play. So let me go ahead and just run through it. I'll run through it one time, and then we'll see. So okay, so. So what I just did, and you need to play that actually twice, but what I just did to kind of save you time and energy was I played through it, and I kind of played through it probably on the fast side. You don't have to play it that fast. And I didn't use a metronome, so my time was probably way off. And it's such a simple song. Sometimes it's really hard to do the simple things well. So more complex. I'm really better at complex things. But in any case, it was a fairly nice attempt to sort of give you a feel for the music. And what we're doing is what you need to do before you start this video is download Ode to Joy, which is available at the YouTube website at the link right underneath the video when we upload the video. And what I'm going to do is kind of go through line by line and tell you what I'm doing line by line. I'm going to count it out. So when I'm going through and I'm counting it out at a slower pace, I'll probably have better rhythm, is what I'm thinking. But in any case, I've sort of angled the camera here so you can sort of see the guitar. And I guess I should probably go this way a little bit more with it. So let me push this way a little bit. There we go. So you can kind of see what I'm doing in terms of, I don't like it like that. Let's see. In terms of the neck. So I'm playing, and I'd like you to play this sort of the same way. Put your finger on the pick guard like we've been doing in video 1 and 2. And the first three fingers on your hand are going to go on the first 3 strings. So 1, 2, 3. We do this because it's and you can rest your thumb anywhere you want. You can put your thumb on the 6th string, the 5th string, anywhere you sort of want. But when you put your fingers here, it gives a nice plucking order. So you can go. I mean, it kind of gives you a good sequence of plucking for the strings, because what we're going to eventually go through is learn a few chords eventually, and the chords are nothing more than pressing down multiple strings at the same time. And here I've got a chord pressed down, and if I know the picking order and I can put my fingers down, I can kind of get into a rhythm, hopefully a sort of a consistent rhythm of picking, and then vary which fingers I'm pressing down on the fretboard and generate an interesting new kind of rhythm to it. We can take almost any song and apply that. And then there's different patterns. I mean, there's open patterns. There's classical kind of patterns. I mean, you can even do Enya. You can even what did I try to remember? Enya, yeah. And you can kind of get some with just knowing a few rhythm patterns that you're going to apply on your strum hand, and it's not really strumming in your picking hand, I should say, because we're doing fingerstyle. And knowing just a few chords, you can combine them into a lot of different sequences. So what we're trying to do in this first video, on this first song, Ode Joy, you're not going to like the song. Nobody likes the song, but every student who learns how to play the guitar learns Ode Joy because it gives you the ability to figure out the coordination with pressing the fingers down on the fretboard and strumming them, or picking, not strumming, but picking them with your right hand. So it gets left hand, right hand coordination. It's a real simple song. It's a classical song. Everybody learns it. It's one of those songs you're never going to play again, and I barely know it myself. It's a great one to sort of get your feet wet. Let's just say that, get your feet wet. So let's go through the first line of the song, and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 while I sing. I'm going to sing 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to sing. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 while I let's see if I can improve this a little bit. Oh, that's better. Why? Because you don't need to see my right hand. My right hand is gonna be picking the strings. So I got the 1, 2, 3. I got the fingers lined up. The first, the second, and the third finger lined up on the first, second, and third string, and I got my pinky resting on the pick guard, underused pick guard, and I'm flicking the strings with the corresponding finger that's assigned, and my thumb is just resting here. So that we can just leave alone now and focus, because this video is really focusing on depressing the right strings. So the first line, the first measure of the first line is a 0, 0, 1, 3, all on the first string. So we learned from our 1, 2, 3, 4 exercise. 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember that boring exercise that you hopefully have done? We know that this is 1, 2, 3, 4. And that, if I get my fingers right here, we know that this is the first fret, the second fret, the third fret, the fourth fret. This finger belongs on any depression that goes on here. This one belongs here, this one belongs here, this one belongs here, which was the purpose of that exercise. So in Ode Joy, the first measure has a 0, 0. So we pluck with nothing on. 1, 2, and then we go 1, 3. So the middle finger isn't on there at all. The middle finger is just hanging loose. So we got the first one here, 1, and then we got the third. I just left the first one on. I didn't pull it off. You can leave it on, because you might go back to it. And in this song, you actually do go back to it, because you go 3 back to 1. So when you play the song, really focus on this hand, because this song is really teaching you the finger positions for the frets. So the 0, 0, and then the 1, 3. And then this finger's not touching anything. It's just going, instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, we've just gone 1, 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So for the measure of 1, 2, 3, 4, if I go real slow, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the next one is sort of backwards. We're going 1, 2, 3, 4 again, because it's a 4/4 tempo. But we're going 3, which we're already there, so it's a good thing we didn't pick them up. 3, 1, 0, and then we're going to hit the third fret of the second string. So to play both the first and the second measure together would sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And when I hit that second string, remember, I used my second finger on the second string. I didn't go like this, and I'm not going like this. Don't go like this. This is not going to teach you very much. You cannot play all of the strings with your thumb. I see people trying to do this all the time, and the only finger they got on here is just the thumb. So get used to using your 4 fingers, and use your thumb just for the first 3 strings. So get yourself back in a position. Put your first, second, and third finger on the first, second, and third. Well, the opposite order. If you're counting this way, finger number 1 goes on the third string, and then the finger number 2 is on the second string, and finger number 3 is on the third string. So let's go back and repeat what I just did here. I'm going to use a counting mechanism again. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the third measure, where I have a 1, 1 I have a 1, 1 on the second string, and then I have a 3 on the second string, and then I have a 0 on the first string. So I'm on the third measure. So it's really easy. I just go back to the first, and I hit the first one twice. 1, 2, 3, 4, which is what that sounds like. So I'm going to play the first 3 measures together, and then we're going to add the fourth to it next. So going measure by measure, starting with the first. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the fourth measure is the one that has the 3 notes, but there's 4, 4. So there's a pause, so I go with the 0, open first string, and then you wait a little bit, so you go 1, 2. It's like 1, 2, and then you hit the 3rd fret of the second string twice for 3, 4. So that measure sounds like 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to play the first line completely, which has got 4 measures in it. If you're looking at, hopefully you've downloaded and you're looking at the sheet music right now, and you're familiar with lecture number 2 where I went over the terminology. So I'm going to go through all 4 measures of the first line of this music, and it sounds like this. I'm gonna count, and I'm only counting because this is going to help you sort of keep on pace with the 4/4 rhythm. Because that's probably one of the hardest things to do, and I'm not good at it either. My rhythm is totally off usually 90% of the time. So don't feel so bad if you're challenged with it. So let's start with the first measure. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to move on to line number 2, which is actually kind of the same as line number 1, except for the last measure. If you look at the last measure, the last box of line number 2, it has a 3, 1, 1 instead of a 0, 3, 3. So it has a 3, and then a kind of a pause, and then a 1, 1. And the pause is that one extra beat that's missing. So it's a 1, 2, 3, 4. So the line goes like this. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to play, and we're halfway through the song, believe it or not. I'm going to play the first 2 lines of the song for you, back to back. I'm going to keep count. So, and I'm going to try to go as slow as I can to kind of keep a good rhythm here. And then you can basically pause the video, start over again, and keep going over and over again if you want to play along with me. Probably not a bad idea until you get comfortable with it. So, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So probably doesn't sound as good when I'm talking over it, but it's kind of 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 is the goal, and it's a good way of learning how to get the rhythm down, because you need this more in fingerstyle guitar than you need it in strumming style. Because in fingerstyle, you're looking. This is the tablature that I taught you in lecture 2. This is what you're reading, and this is what you kind of have to learn how to sync in terms of your rhythm in order for your song to sound correctly. So let's move on to line number 3. Line number 3 is a little different, but it's not a challenge. It's not even that hard. The first measure is pretty easy. It's a little different though. We're going to hit the second string, 3rd fret twice. Then we're going to go to the first string, and then we're going to go back to the second string to hit the first. So we're going to go, it's going to sound like this. It's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoops, if I hit the right string. No, this is the second string. Whoops, it is the second string. Okay, it is, I was looking at the wrong line. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So it sounds like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. The second fret, excuse me, the second measure is a little bit different. We haven't seen this one yet, actually. This one is going to start out, and it has 4 notes, and I've sort of circled it so you can see it on the paper, and maybe you can see it in the video. See that little circled section right there? Ah, there we go. I got it really clear now. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 notes. So in the other challenging part, I want to call it challenging, was the section here where it had 3. If you see that, and the end measure of each one of these lines has only 3 instead of 4, but we've got that dot up there, and the dot says put in an extra 2. So we've got 1, we hit a note, 2, we don't hit anything, then we go 3, 4. Here we're doing the exact opposite. So when we've got 5 instead of 4, we've got to do 1 real quickly. So the 0, 1, 0 up there is going to be in 2 beats instead of 3 beats. So let me demonstrate what that actually sounds like. So if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, which is why I've been counting out 1, 2, 3, 4. If I go 1, the 1 is that 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops, no, it's actually 1, 2, 3. It's 3, 1. Whoops, my counting is throwing me off. So it's hitting the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, hitting the 1st open, hitting the 1st, depressing the 1st fret, and then going back. Oops, that's what the problem was. I'm not hitting the 1. So it goes to 3, 0, 1, 0, 1. And so now that I've got the note pattern down, the 3rd is the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. The first string open, the 1st fret of the 1st string, oops, and then that one open again. So the sequence that you're doing 3 notes in 2 beats is this. So it's open, 1, open, and then you're hitting the 1st fret of the 2nd string. So the measure sounds like this. It's 3, 0, 1, 0, 1. But you're doing it in 4 instead of 5. So instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, in this case you're going 1. In the measure right before it, you're going 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you go into 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3 is kind of faster. And I can't, for some reason, can't spell it out while I'm doing it because it's throwing my timing off. I want to go 5 instead of 4 on it. So let me play those 2 without speaking, so I can demonstrate it to what it's supposed to sound like. So the 1, 2, 3, the 4th line, the first 2 measures of the 4th line. Actually, I'll play the whole line so you can kind of see what it sounds like. It sounds like this. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, just as regular, and then we have, and then we do that twice. But the second time around, we hit the 3rd measure, excuse me, the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, and then we go back to the regular last measure of the line kind of sequence where we go 1, 3. And then we're hitting the 3rd string for the first time. So we only hit the 3rd string 1 time in this entire song, and it's in the 4th line, the last measure. So the entire line, the 4th line sounds like this. So it's gonna picks up a little bit in that, that 2nd measure where we're going, we're going, and then we're going, and then we end it with the. So, and then the last line is just identical to the 2nd line. So a lot of the lines in this song actually sort of repeat themselves. The 1st, the 2nd, and the last line are almost identical. The last line is basically back to our 1, 2, 3, 4. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or 2, we didn't have anything where we hit, so. So to play through the whole song, and I'll just do this one more time because you're going to be sick of this song soon. We want to go slow, and I'm gonna go first line, second line, third line, fourth line. I'm gonna try not to talk during this one of it, but keeping through with the 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of pace. So we got first line would sound like this. So we got, and you can repeat that. You can write, you can do the first line a couple of times if you want. Until you get comfortable with it, do it a couple of hundred times. You're probably going to do it that long, you're going to be sick of it. And then move to the second line, and then move to the third line, and then move to the fourth line. And I don't think I need to go through this more, but hopefully get the point. And what you want to do is just kind of go through measure by measure, and master the lines, and then keep going through the lines, and then run the whole song through at the very end. This should probably, if you're a brand new guitarist, you've never picked it up before, and this is the first song you've ever tried to play, don't kill yourself on it. It's going to take you maybe a week. It might actually take you a week. The learning curve is kind of steep, or it is for some people. Some people just pick it up, and like on the first day, like within the first hour, they can play this song. Other students, it's going to take you about a week. And don't practice for more than, if your fingers start hurting, if you start getting calluses, or you don't have calluses. If you start getting pain on the ends of your fingertips, that's pretty normal. It's going to go away. Practice for, I would say, maybe 45 minutes to an hour a day. If you're practicing more than that, it's probably too much in the beginning. And doing it, once or twice a week or so. Don't push yourself too hard, and you'll probably end up learning it a lot faster. So anyway, that's the first song, or your first practice, Ode to Joy. Make sure to download it. Make sure to print it out. Keep the song and come back to it. Once you've graduated from the 1, 2, 3, 4 song, if you haven't done the 1, 2, 3, 4 song, you got to do that one first. Ode to Joy is number 2, and in the next video, I think I'm going to start in with something a little bit more complicated. I think we're going to do Love Me Tender, starting with an Elvis song or something. So hopefully you've enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time for the next video. So take care, good night, and thanks for watching.